Hari Om. Pranams to Brahmachari Sohamji and all other fellow sadhakas on this auspicious day of Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya Ji's Jayanti. Jagat Guru Adi Shankaracharya is deeply revered in the Sannyasa tradition. There is no doubt about that. But if we think, what about his impact on the spiritual fabric of an ordinary Hindu and India as a nation? Let us do a small thought exercise, if you will. I request you to close your eyes for a few seconds, maybe 3 seconds, and imagine if we did not have access to Vedantic teachings in our lives. In other words, what if we did not have commentaries, bhashya, available on Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutra? You may say, I never read it. Okay, keep your eyes closed and think, what if we did not have Prakarana Granthas such as Bhaju Govindam, Sadhana Panchakam, Viveka Chudamani, Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, so many others. Keep your eyes closed and for a couple of seconds now imagine, what if we did not have the understanding of Sanatana Dharma, Hindu Dharma, as we know as of today, whatever little we know? Take a few moments to think about how would our pujas and rituals would be if we did not have the devotional stotrams that we chant during the puja and that still reverberate in our daily lives. Take few moments to think about what if we did not have temples, traditions, and practices that are followed in these temples. What if these were not available to us? Lastly, now think, what if India, Bharat Desh, was divided into several sub-regions due to incorrect religious beliefs arising out of misinterpretation of Vedas? We can go on and on. Sounds scary, doesn't it? We can come to realize that we owe our way of being, thinking, and practicing to Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya. He is the consciousness of Bharata. He is the prana of Sanatana Dharma. We can never be free from this Rishi Runa. We can never repay this debt. But on Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya's Janma Jayanti, as a token of our gratitude, let us remember him. Let us remember him by listening to some melodious devotional stotrams composed by Bhagavan himself. Let us briefly relive some incidents from his life and get inspiration. Let us appreciate what he has done in his short life of just 32 years. And that work has outlived centuries. Lastly, let us read his commentary called Adhyasa Bhashya, in the light of which we study all our scriptures and Vedantic learnings. On this day, let us make a firm resolve to walk on the path Bhagavan has shown us, do the work he has done in whatever little capacity we can. Let us also express our deepest gratitude to Pujya Gurudev for bringing the glory of Bhagavan in our lives, in our homes, in our heart. I now request Aparna Devi to get us started with a very special composition. Hari Om.
Hari Om. This is a composition written by our own Pujya Guruji स्वामी तेजोमानंद जी, श्री आदि शंकराचार्य स्तवन। आदि शंकराचार्य गुरु है साक्षात शिव भगवान, नमस्कार करें उन्हें सदा हम सहित पूर्ण सम्मान। श्रुति स्मृति इतिहास के वेता विदित उन्हें है पुराण, ज्ञान कर्म सब योग भक्ति के संगम कृपा निदान। मौन में मौनी दीन में दीन जो विदुषों में विद्वान, जीवन मुक्तानंद में रमते विगत देह अभिमान। ईश्वर गुरु वेदांत में निष्ठा शिष्य का हो कल्याण, यही है व्रत जिनके जीवन का शंकर गुरु है महान। प्रकट न होते श्री शंकर तो तमस में रहता ज्ञान, प्रकट न होते श्री शंकर तो तमस में रहता ज्ञान। उनकी कृपा हो हम सब पर ही रहे कृपा का भान। आदि शंकराचार्य गुरु है साक्षात शिव भगवान, नमस्कार करे उन्हें सदा हम सहित पूर्ण सम्मान। नमस्कार करे उन्हें सदा हम सहित पूर्ण सम्मान। Now I will sing the Guru Ashtakam by Sri Adi Shankaracharya. शरीरं स्वरूपं यथा वा कलत्रं, यशश्चारुचित्रं धनं मेरुतुल्यं, मनश्चेन्न लग्नं हरेरङ्घ्रिपद्मे, ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किम्। कलत्रं धनं पुत्र पौत्रादि सर्वं, गृहं बान्धवा सर्वमेतद्विजातं, मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे, ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किम्। षडङ्गादिवेदो मुखे शास्त्रविद्या, कवित्वादिगद्यं सुपद्यं करोति, मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे, ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किम्। विदेशेषु मान्य स्वदेशेषु धन्य, सदाचारवृत्तेषु मत्तो न जान्य, मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे, ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किम्। क्षमामण्डले भूपभूपालवृन्दै सदा सेवितं यस्य पादारविन्दं, मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे, ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किम्। यशो मे गतं दिक्षु दानप्रतापात्, जगद्वस्तु सर्वं करे यत्प्रसादात्, मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे, ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किम्। न भोगो न योगो न वा वाजिराजो, न कान्तामुखेनैव वित्तेषु चित्तं, मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे, ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किम्। अरण्येन वा स्वस्य गेहेन कार्ये, न देहे मनो वर्तते मे त्वनर्घ्ये, मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे, ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किम्। अनर्घ्यानि रत्नानि मुक्तानि सम्यक् समालिङ्गिता कामिनी यामिनीषु मनश्चेन लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किम् गुरोरष्टकं यः पठेत् पुण्यदेहि यतिर्भूपतिर्ब्रह्मचारी च गेहि लभेत् वाञ्छितार्थं पदं ब्रह्म संयम गुरोरुक्तवाक्ये मनो यस्य लग्नं गुरोरुक्तवाक्ये मनो यस्य लग्नं गुरोरुक्तवाक्ये मनो यस्य लग्नम्.
Hari Om everyone. We'll chant Ganga Stotram right now. देवी सुरेश्वरी भगवती गंगे त्रिभुवन तारिणी तरल तरंगे शंकर मौलि विहारिणि विमले मम मतिरास्तां तव पद कमले भागीरथि सुखदायिनि मातः तव जल महिमा निगमे ख्यात नाहं जाने तव महिमानं पाहि कृपामयि मामज्ञानं हरिपद पाद्यतरङ्गिणि गङ्गे किम विधुमुक्ता धवलतरङ्गे दूरीकुरु मम दुष्कृतिभारं कुरु कृपया भवसागरपारं तव जलममलं येन निपीतं परमपदं खलु तेन गृहीतं मातर्गङ्गे त्वय्यो भक्तः किल तं द्रष्टुं नयमः शक्तः पतितोद्धारिणि जाह्नवी गङ्गे खण्डितगिरिवरमण्डितभङ्गे भीष्मजननि हे मुनिवरकन्ये पतितनिवारिणि त्रिभुवनधन्ये कल्पलतामिव फलदां लोके प्रणमति यस्त्वां न पतति शोके पारावारविहारिणि गङ्गे विमुखयुवति कृततरलापाङ्गे तव चेन्मातः स्रोतस्नातः पुनरपि जठरे सोऽपि न जातः नरकनिवारिणि जाह्नवी गङ्गे कलुषविनाशिनि महिमोतुङ्गे पुनरसदङ्गे पुण्यतरङ्गे जय जय जाह्नवी करुणापाङ्गे इन्द्रमुकुटमणिराजितचरणे सुखदे शुभदे भृत्य शरण्ये रोगं शोकं तापं पापं हर मे भगवति कुमति कलापं त्रिभुवनसारे वसुधाहारे त्वमसि गतिर्मम खलु संसारे अलकानन्दे परमानन्दे कुरु करुणामयि कातरवन्द्ये तव तटनिकटे यस्य निवासः खलु वैकुण्ठे तस्य निवास वरमिह नीरे कमठो मीनः किं वा तीरे शरटक्षीणः अथवा श्वपचो मलिनो दीनः तव न हि दूरे नृपति कुलीनः भो भुवनेश्वरि पुण्ये धन्ये देवी द्रवमयी मुनिवरकन्ये गङ्गास्तव बिम्बममलं नित्यं पठति नरो यः स जयति सत्यं येषां हृदये गङ्गा भक्तिः तेषां भवति सदा सुखमुक्तिः मधुरा कान्ता पञ्चटिकाभिः परमानन्दकलितललिताभिः गङ्गास्तोत्रमिदं भवसारं वाञ्छितफलदं विमलं सारं शङ्करसेवक शङ्कररचितं पठति सुखी स्तव इति च समाप्तः जय जय गङ्गे जय हर गङ्गे 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 जय हर गङ्गे जय हर गङ्गे जय जय गङ्गे जय हर गङ्गे जय हर गंगे, जय जय गंगे जय हर गंगे।
Hari Om. I will now offer Shiva Panchakshari Stotra. Nagendra Haraya Trilochanaya Bhasmangaradaya Maheshwaraya Nagendra Haraya Trilochanaya Bhasmangaradaya Maheshwaraya Nityaya Shuddhaya Digambaraya Tasmai Nakaraya Namah Shivaya Mandakini Salila Chandana Chachitaya Nandishwara Brahmatanatha Maheshwaraya Mandara Pushpa Bahu Pushpa Supujitaya Tasmai Makara Mahitaya Namah Shivaya Shivaya Gauri Vadanabja Nanda Suryaya Daksha Dvaranashakaya Shri Neelakantaya Vrishabhajaya Tasmai Shikaraya Namah Shivaya Vasishta Kumbhodhava Gautamarya Munindra Devachita Shekharaya Vasishta Kumbhodhava Gautamarya Munindra Devachita Shekharaya Chandrarka Vaishwanarulocanaya Tasmai Makaraya Namah Shivaya Yajna Swarupaya Jatadharaya Pinakahastaya Sanatanaya Divyaya Devaya Digambaraya Tasmai Yakaraya Namah Shivaya Panchaksharamidam punyam Yat patet Shiva sannidho Shivalokamavatnoti Shivena sahamodati.
Hari Om. I will be offering Shiva Manasa Puja. रत्नैकल्पितमासनं हिमजले स्नानं च दिव्याम्बरम् नानारत्नविभूषितं मृगमदा मोदाङ्कितं चन्दनम् जाति चम्पकबिल्वपत्ररचितं विरचितं पुष्पं च धूपं तथा दीपं देवदयानिधे पशुपते हृत्कल्पितं गृह्यताम्। सौवर्णे नवरत्नखण्डरचिते पात्रे घृतं पायसम् भक्ष्यं पञ्चविधं पयोदधियुतं रम्भाफलं पानकम् शाकानामयुतं जलं रुचिकरं कर्पूरखण्डोज्ज्वलम् ताम्बूलं मनसा मया विरचितं भक्त्या प्रभो स्वीकुरु। छत्रं चामरयोर्युगं व्यजनकं च आदर्शकं निर्मलम् वीणाभेरिमृदङ्गकाहलकला गीतं च नृत्यं तथा साष्टाङ्गं प्रणतिः स्तुतिः बहुविधा ह्येतत् समस्तं मया संकल्पेन समर्पितं तव विभो पूजां गृहाण प्रभो। आत्मा त्वं गिरिजामतिः सहचरा प्राणाः शरीरं गृहम् पूजा ते विषयोपभोगरचना निद्रा समाधिस्थितिः संचारपदयो प्रदक्षिणविधिः स्तोत्राणि सर्वा गिरो यद्यत् कर्म करोमि तद्दखिलं शंभो तवाराधनम्। करचरणकृतं वा कायजं कर्मजं वा श्रवणनयनजं वा मानसं वापराधम् विहितमविहितं वा सर्वमेतत् क्षमस्व। जय जय करुणाब्धे श्री महादेव शंभो जय जय करुणाब्धे श्री महादेव शंभो।
हरि ओम। अच्युताष्टकम्। अच्युतं केशवं रामनारायणं कृष्णदामोदरं वासुदेवं हरिं श्रीधरं माधवं गोपिकावल्लभं जानकीनायकं रामचन्द्रं भजे। अच्युतं केशवं सत्यभामाधवं माधवं श्रीधरं राधिकाराधितम् इन्दिरामन्दिरं चेतसा सुन्दरं देवकी नन्दनं नन्दजं सन्धदे। विष्णवे जिष्णवे शङ्किने चक्रिणे रुक्मिणी रागिणे जानकी जानये वल्लवी वल्लभायार्चितायात्मने कंसविध्वंसिने वंशिने ते नमः। कृष्ण गोविंद हे राम नारायण श्रीपते वासुदेवाजित श्रीनिधे अच्युतानंद हे माधवाधोक्षजा द्वारकानायक द्रौपदी रक्षक राक्षसक्षोभित सीतया शोभितो दंडकारण्यभू पुण्यता कारण लक्ष्मणेनान्वितो वानरै सेवितो गस्त्य सम्पूजितो राघव तुमां धेनुकारिष्टकानिष्टकृद्वेषिः केशिहाकं सहृद्वंशिकावादक पूतना कोपकासुरजाखेलनो बालगोपालक पातु मां सर्वदा विद्युदुद्योतवत् प्रस्फुरत् वाससं प्रावृडं बोधवत् प्रोल्लसद्विग्रहं वन्यया मालया शोभितोर स्थलं लोहिताङ्घ्रिद्वयं वारिजाक्षं भजे कुञ्चितैः कुन्तलैर्भ्राजमानाननं रत्नमौलिं लसत्कुण्डलं गण्डयो हारकेयूरकं कङ्कणप्रोज्ज्वलं किङ्किणी मञ्जुलं श्यामलं तं भजे अच्युतस्याष्टकं यः पठेद् इष्टदं प्रेमतः प्रत्यहं पुरुषसस्पृहं वृत्ततः सुन्दरं कर्तृविश्वम्भर तस्य वश्यो हरिर्जायते सत्वरं तस्य वश्यो हरिर्जायते सत्वरम्.
Hari Om. A big thank you to our singers for rendering these beautiful compositions. I'm sure you have all enjoyed it. The composer of these stotrams was an excellent poet with a heart brimming with the love of the divine. Gurudev describes him as a great thinker and one of the most vigorous missionaries in our country. He had profound influence on the growth of Hinduism and was the noblest of Advaitic philosophers. He is none other than Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji. He traveled across the Indian subcontinent teaching the principles of Advaita Vedanta. He sought to revive and re-establish the purity of Sanatana Dharma through discourses and debates with other thinkers. Today, we are going to share a few inspirational moments in the life of Bhagavan, different facets of his personality, his disciples, and much more. Let me begin with a story of a young brahmachari. In his Gurukul days, Adi Shankaracharya ji went to a house for bhiksha. The lady was poor and could only offer a single amla fruit. He was moved by her kindness and selflessness. He burst into poetry in praise of goddess Lakshmi. Pleased by the beauty and the power of the hymn, the goddess appeared before him and showered the lady's house with golden amla fruits. This prayer of Adi Shankaraji has come down to us as the Kanakadhara Stotram. He had always been fascinated by the life of sannyasa. One day, the rishis came to him and reminded him of his duty in spreading spiritualism. Adi Shankaracharya ji convinced his mother, who reluctantly agreed to his quest to become a sannyasi. At the age of 8, he left home in search of a guru who could formally initiate him. He reached the banks of the river Narmada, where he met Guru Govinda Bhagavad Pada. He was staying in a cave in Omkareshwar, close to the river. Adi Shankaraji found the river gushing forth into floods. The flood waters rose and was about to enter the cave where his guru was deeply immersed in samadhi. He placed his kamandalu at the entrance of the cave in the path of the raging water. He encapsulated the water and released it in the banks of the river. The flood waters could not disturb his guru's meditation. Guru Govinda Bhagavad Padaji marveled at Shankaracharya ji and initiated him as his disciple. He taught him various Vedas and commissioned him to write a commentary on Vishnu Sahasranama and Brahma Sutra. And then, as per his guru's advice, Adi Shankaraji traveled along with his disciples throughout India to spread the Advaita philosophy. In their travels, they reached Sringeri on the banks of river Tungabhadra. The river was a sacred one, and many before him had found peace and contentment here. The time was noon, and the midday sun was its scorching best. On the bank of the river was a cobra with its hood raised over a frog. At first glance, it appeared as if the cobra was about to devour the frog, but a closer look revealed that the cobra was, in fact, protecting the frog in labor pains from the harsh sun. Amazed with the sanctity of this place, which could infuse love between natural adversaries, Bhagwan chose this very location at Sringeri to establish his first mat, Sringeri Sharada Peetham. He appointed his disciple, Sri Sureshwaracharya ji, as the head of the mat. We will now hear more about him and the other disciples of Bhagwan.
Next, we will hear about Bhagwan's most famous disciples. Of the many disciples who had the rare privilege of serving Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji, 4 stand out prominently. Shri Padmapada Acharya ji for intense devotion, Shri Totaka Acharya ji for exemplary service, Shri Hastamalaka Acharya ji for supreme self-realization, and Shri Sureshwara Acharya ji for deep learning. Next, let us hear about Shri Padmapada Acharya ji, who was the first disciple of Bhagwan. As a teenager, he had mastered the Vedas and developed vairagya towards worldly life. He was highly protective of his guru. He once took on the form of Lord Narasimha and saved his guru from tribal men trying to offer Bhagwan as a human sacrifice in their rituals. One day, Bhagwan suddenly called out to him from the opposite banks of the Ganga river. Always obedient to his guru's summons, he walked across the river, heedless of the danger of drowning. Due to his guru's grace, a lotus materialized to support his every step on the river, earning him the name Shri Padmapada Acharya ji. His life exemplifies the Guru-Sishya relationship. The Guru is everything. The next disciple is Shri Totaka Acharya ji, who exemplified service to the Guru. He took pleasure in anticipating and serving Bhagwan's every need. He was uneducated and therefore scorned by the other disciples. One day, when Bhagwan waited for him to start the lessons, the other disciples implied that teaching him was as good as teaching a lifeless wall. Recognizing their scorn, Bhagwan gifted his faithful disciple with insight as a reward for his unstinting service. His classmates were stunned when he walked in reciting his own composition in chaste Sanskrit in praise of their guru, now famous as Totaka Ashtakam. Shri Totaka Acharya ji best exemplifies the guru's grace. We are next hearing about Shri Hastamalaka Acharya ji. As a young teen, he never talked, played, or studied and was considered to be the village idiot. Bhagwan recognized the boy's spiritual advancement at a glance and asked him, "Tell me, who are you?" In answer, he composed 12 Sanskrit verses summarizing the teachings of Vedanta on the real nature of the self as easily as holding a gooseberry in one's palm, thus the name Hastamalaka. Bhagwan's next disciple, Shri Sureshwara Acharya ji, was an unusual case. Usually, the Sishya seeks the Guru. Here, however, the Guru sought the Sishya. Bhagwan heard of Shri Mandana Mishra ji and his wife Ubhaya Bharati Devi, wealthy and learned scholars who followed the Karma Mimamsa tradition of rigid ritualism. Wanting to win over such learned philosophers to Advaita, Bhagwan challenged him to a debate. Devi Ubhaya Bharati, a great scholar in her own right and considered to be a reincarnation of Goddess Saraswati, would be the judge. She placed a garland around each contestant's neck. After days of debate, Bhagwan's garland remained fresh, while Mandana Mishraji's garland wilted, signaling his defeat. Bhagwan conducted another debate with Devi Ubhaya Bharati to win her over too. We will next see how these 4 disciples played an integral role in Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji's efforts to revive Hinduism.
During Bhagwan's time, Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma of the past had gone through many changes and was in a rigid and fractured state. Multiple factors were responsible for turning the glorious Sanatan Dharma into such an inflexible and hard to follow system. More than 70 sects of Hinduism did exist during Bhagwan's time. Each sect cited Vedas as their source, but cherry-picked some verses and sections of Vedas and rejected others. Each sect focused on different deity, had rigid rules and rituals of their own. This led to mutually contradictory and continuously conflicting sects within Hinduism. And to make this bad situation worse, there was no authority who could unify these sects and take them in one direction. All this presented a huge difficulty for people to practice Sanatan Dharma and means to attain the oneness or liberation. At such a state, Bhagwan became spiritual general and went on to revive Sanatan Dharma. Next, we will see some of the creative solutions Bhagwan adopted to revive Hinduism. Bhagwan first provided a complete and accurate interpretation of the Vedas and established the Vedanta-based holistic approach. He focused on the Shruti Praman, the logic, and the experience. He wrote extensive commentaries, Prakriya Grantha, and hymns to make this knowledge available for everyone. Then he traveled across India multiple times, meeting people, visiting temples, and establishing this knowledge. He engaged in debates with other sects with sincere goal to arrive at the truth. During debates, he pointed out incomplete and inconsistent interpretation of the Vedas and pointing them to the right interpretation. He went on establishing 4 mutt in 4 corners of India: Sringeri in the south, Dwarka in the west, Badrinath in the north, and Puri in the east. This made easy for everyone to access the right knowledge and the right people who can provide authentic interpretation of the Vedas. This shows that Bhagwan was not only brilliant solution architect, but he also made these solutions available and usable by all. Next, we will see how Bhagwan took the message to all. Gurudev calls Adi Shankaracharya ji the most effective missionary. Bhagwan re-established the supremacy of Vedanta with focus on knowledge and experience of the self, and established the role of karma, bhakti, and yoga as effective tools in that process. In clear and lucid language, he convinced everyone that there can be many paths, but the goal is the same: realizing oneself. With such a monumental effort, Bhagwan revived Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma and brought the people of India back in the fold of Sanatan Dharma. Now we may wonder about the personality of such an effective missionary, a spiritual general, and the reviver of Sanatan Dharma. So next, we will see important facets of Bhagwan's personality.
So far, we have heard about great inspirational moments of Bhagwan's life, his disciples, how he revived Hinduism at the time when it was most needed. We will now understand various facets of Bhagwan's personality. First, as a Jivan Mukta. Who is a Jivan Mukta? One who is inwardly free while living in this materialistic world of objects, has dissolved his limited ego in infinite consciousness and no longer accrues new karma. In other words, living his life in the state of a Sthit Prajna. Bhagwan's life story clearly shows that he was a Jivan Mukta. He completed studying all the 4 Vedas and 6 Vedangas and took sannyasa at the mere age of 8. He found his guru Sri Govindapadaji and learned the principles of oneness, which he preached and spread in his lifetime. For the rest of his life, he traveled spreading knowledge, reviving Hinduism, establishing mathas, delivering beautiful compositions and such. He lived freely, no desire for himself, but only for the betterment of the society. Now, as a knower of all darshanas, Bhagwan was a scholar of tremendous capacity with mastery over not only one Siddhanta, but many Siddhantas. He studied Brahma Sutra, Vedas, and Upanishads and wrote commentaries on these. As he traveled across India, he successfully engaged in various debates. In those days, scholars engaged in debates which were very methodical. It required one to be an expert on one's own subject, but a good amount of knowledge on other Siddhanta also. We heard about his famous debate with Sri Mandana Mishraji, which spanned over several days. Similarly, as Bhagwan traveled across India, he continued to engage in debates. Now, as a Jagat Guru, what qualifies one to be a Jagat Guru? A Jagat Guru is the one who teaches all paths, harmonizes all paths, does not contradict Vedas, Smritis, and Puranas, and blends all into one harmonious system. A Jagat Guru removes misconception, corrects flaws in practice like removing weeds which have gathered over time, refines it, and offers in a pure distilled form. Here are some of the qualities of Bhagwan that we can highlight as a Jagat Guru. As a commentator, he always cited our Shrutis like Vedas, Upanishads, Smritis, Puranas, and Itihasas like Ramayana and Mahabharata for cultivating bhakti. As a composer, he has composed Saundarya Lahari, various Prakarana Granthas that taught us basics of Advaita Vedanta. He also composed several devotional hymns to various deities. Above all, he always spread universal harmony. Next, we will shed light on how Bhagwan was a true visionary.
We saw the many different facets of Bhagwan. His brilliance was not only in how he brought Hinduism to its
A little bit louder, sorry.
It was also in what he did to ensure that it stayed that way for centuries to come. In the next few slides, let's look at the vision that was in play behind Bhagwan's mission. Bhagwan's holistic view was futuristic as well, bringing the scriptural knowledge to all sections of the society in a way that was relevant to the times and needs, bringing the sectarian divide within the Hinduism, unifying them with the Advaita philosophy as the common link, establishing institutions that would be centers of learning and temples of worship. Lastly, but most importantly, ensuring a lineage of acharyas to carry on his mission to guide the future generations. Next, let's look at Bhagwan's literary works. We know that his writings were the hallmark of scholarly ideas infused with irresistible arguments and piercing logic, that the language of Sanskrit was so flexible that he could mold it into any shape and form, and he used it all to serve a great divine purpose. Bhagwan's work can be broadly divided into two categories, granthas and hymns. We have listed some of his work here that we are familiar with. He wrote Bhashya Granthas, commentaries on Prasthanatraya, the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and Brahma Sutra, which are considered the storehouse of Advaita Vedanta. In the Prakarana Granthas, Bhagwan supplemented the teachings by expounding and simplifying certain Vedantic principles in his unique way. His writings opened the gates to the highest truth, the knowledge of the self, enshrined in our scriptures to all seekers. Through his teachings, he transformed simple words like a rope and snake, pot and clay into household names of Vedantics. But that's not all. Next, let's look at the Bhagwan's devotional compositions. For the devotionally inclined seekers, he produced an endless array of stotrams and songs with lilting tunes and mesmerizing melody. Some of those stotrams we heard today here and enjoyed thoroughly. Again, at the core of it all was the essence of Advaita, the one all-pervading supreme beyond time, space, and causation, which is our true nature. And thanks to Bhagavan, today we have access to the timeless treasures of our scriptures in a variety of forms to choose from. Next, we will see how Bhagavan excelled as an organizer. Bhagavan knew fully well that if the scriptural knowledge and the devotion were to be vibrant forever, it's going to take more than his pen and speech. He realized the need for institutions that would be centers of learning, supported by a lineage of highly dedicated acharyas, deeply knowledgeable in the Advaita and abided in it. Dashanami Sampradaya was his answer to this challenge, and it was his masterstroke of brilliance. He brought the Ekadanti sannyasins, the monks who carried a single staff and identified with one of the 10 titles such as Saraswati, Tirtha, Puri, Bharati, etc. He brought them under one umbrella of Advaita Vedanta. The 4 matas that we heard about was a brainchild of this sampradaya that Bhagavan came up with, where he appointed his most senior disciples as the leaders. To this day, after more than 1200 years, these institutions are flourishing in their service of spreading Advaita Vedanta, guiding people through karma, bhakti, and jnana yoga to the highest ideal of life. The centrality of Bhagavan's teaching, the oneness of all, also unified the 6 different forms of deity worship, which is the one supreme, the Paramatma's worship. And it was Bhagavan's broad-minded vision that all the Shankara Mathas still maintain their regional and traditional identities. Next, if we combine all of Bhagavan's facets and accomplishments, we can easily conclude that he is, and will be one of the greatest philosopher, thinker, and intellectual of Hinduism. He was a Jivan Mukta Purusha, as we saw, and a Jagat Guru, and above all, he is a Jnani. It was indeed God's work that Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji took upon himself and executed it flawlessly. As Puja Guruji reminded us, Bhagavan is the abode of the absolute knowledge and compassion. So it is no wonder that we revere and worship Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji as none other than an avatar of Lord Parameshwara himself. Hari Om. I now invite Brahmachari Soham ji for the Adhyasa Bhashya Parayana.
Hari Om. Jai Jai Shankara, Hara Hara Shankara. Greetings to everyone on Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji's Jayanti. Before we read the Bhashya, a small introduction on what we are going to read. Today is a very auspicious day for all of us. And as many of them mentioned earlier, it is auspicious because we have such a great teacher in our parampara through whom we are studying this great knowledge of Vedanta. That is our Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji. Bhagwan is as though our boatsman in this entire ocean of samsara to help us see the truth as it is. Bhagwan's Bhashya is called Prasanna Gambhiram. Means it's very delightful. You enjoy it as you read, but it is also very, very deep. This introductory Bhashya is called the Introductory Bhashya to Brahma Sutra, Upodghata Adhyasa Bhashya. The essence of Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji's teaching is in telling us that our main problem or our main cause of suffering is ignorance of our true nature. It is called avidya. Simply put, it is called non-apprehension of the truth. You say, that is my first problem, and I don't stop at that point. What this gives rise to is another subsidiary problem, which is adhyasa. Means I not only have non-apprehension, I also have misapprehension. Not knowing myself as Ananda Swarupa, I take myself as some finite jiva and start identifying with everything from ahankara, mind, body, and the world outside. I project it first and then get identified with it. And this has been going on since beginningless time. Anadi Maya Suptaha. Means For beginningless time, this delusion has been there. And we need someone like Bhagwan and our Guru Parampara to come and wake us up and say that we are of the nature of pure consciousness. Bhagwan's teaching is that my main focus should be on gaining clear knowledge. Because if my problem is ignorance of the truth, the solution is gaining clear knowledge. And Bhagwan says that once avidya nivritti is done, it should also do adhyasa nivritti. Means once I have understood that what is real is only the rope, the fear of snake should go away. Means I should not run away from that, saying that I still see a snake there. Neither should I run towards that silver appearing on that shell, thinking that there is something glittery over there. This is the result of knowledge, that once I have understood the substratum as my own self, then I will not get attracted towards objects, nor will I start running away from objects. So avidya nivritti should lead to adhyasa nivritti. And that is where the main problem of a sadhaka lies, right? That's where we started, that I don't only stop at avidya, but it also leads me into adhyasa. And adhyasa is what gives us suffering. That is why you see this bhashya is called adhyasa bhashya, not avidya bhashya. So adhyasa bhashya is what? We will do parayanam, we won't go word by word meaning. And if you ask the question, what is the essence of Vedanta? What is the purpose of studying Vedanta? That is to do this adhyasa nivritti through avidya nivritti. So the last sentence of this bhashya is very beautiful, where Bhagwan says, Asya anartha hetoho prahanaya atmaikatva vidya pratipattaye sarva vedantaha arabhante. Means we will start discussing on Vedanta, or any Vedanta grantha starts its discussion keeping this in mind, that what should happen is ignorance of the seeker should get destroyed. That was a brief overview of this Adhyasa Bhashya. We pray to Bhagwan that with this Parayanam, may we get this interest, that desire to actually study the meaning, to actually understand what each word means, so that it can help us come out of this ignorance. So I will read the Bhashya and also repeat it, so you can follow along with me. It will be like a lead and repeat format. So I'll say every thing twice. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Yushmad asmat pratyaya gochara yoho. Yushmad asmat pratyaya gochara yoho. Vishaya vishayinoho. Vishaya vishayinoho. Tamah prakashavad viruddha swabhavayoho. Tamah prakashavad viruddha swabhavayoho. इतरेतर भावानुपपत्तौ सिद्धायाम इतरेतर भावानुपपत्तौ सिद्धायाम तद्धर्माणामपि सुतराम इतरेतर भावानुपपत्तिः इत्यतः अस्मत्प्रत्ययगोचरे विषयिणी चिदात्मके युष्मत्प्रत्ययगोचरस्य विषयस्य तद्धर्माणां च अध्यासः तद्विपर्ययेण विषयिणः तद्धर्माणां च विषये अध्यासः मिथ्या इति भवितुं युक्तं तथापि अन्योन्यस्मिन् अन्योन्यात्मकताम्, अन्योन्यस्मिन् अन्योन्यात्मकताम्, अन्योन्यधर्मांश्च अन्योन्यधर्मांश्च, अध्यस्य अध्यस्य, इतरेतराविवेकेन इतरेतराविवेकेन, अत्यन्तविविक्तयोः अत्यन्तविविक्तयोः, धर्मधर्मिणोः धर्मधर्मिणोः, मिथ्याज्ञाननिमित्तः मिथ्याज्ञाननिमित्तः, सत्यानृते मिथुनीकृत्य सत्यानृते मिथुनीकृत्य, अहमिदं मम इदम् इति अहमिदं मम इदम् इति, नैसर्गिकः अयं लोकव्यवहारः नैसर्गिकः अयं लोकव्यवहारः, आह आह, कोऽयम् अध्यासो नाम इति कोऽयम् अध्यासो नाम इति, उच्यते उच्यते, स्मृतिरूपः स्मृतिरूपः, परत्र पूर्वदृष्टावभासः परत्र पूर्वदृष्टावभासः, तं केचित् अन्यत्र अन्यधर्माध्यासः इति वदन्ति अन्यधर्माध्यासः इति वदन्ति, केचित्तु यत्र यदध्यासः तद्विवेकाग्रहनिबन्धनः भ्रम इति, अन्ये तु यत्र यदध्यासः तस्यैव विपरीतधर्मत्वकल्पनाम् आचक्षते, सर्वथापि तु अन्यस्य अन्यधर्मावभासताम् न व्यभिचरति, तथा च लोके अनुभवः शुक्तिका हि रजतवद् अवभासते, एकश्चन्द्रः सद्वितीयवत् इति, कथं पुनः प्रत्यगात्मनि अविषये अध्यासः विषयतद्धर्माणां सर्वो हि पुरो अवस्थिते, विषये विषयान्तरम् अध्यस्यति, युष्मत्प्रत्ययापेतस्य च प्रत्यगात्मनः अविषयत्वं ब्रवीषि, उच्यते न तावत् अयम् एकान्तेन अविषयः अस्मत्प्रत्ययविषयत्वात् अपरोक्षत्वाच्च प्रत्यगात्मप्रसिद्धेः न च अयम् अस्ति नियमः पुरो अवस्थिते एव विषये विषयान्तरम् अध्यसितव्यम् इति अप्रत्यक्षे अपि हि आकाशे बालाः तलमलिनतादि अध्यस्यन्ति, एवम् अविरुद्धः प्रत्यगात्मनि अपि अनात्माध्यासः, तम् एतम् एवं लक्षणम् अध्यासं पंडिताः अविद्या इति मन्यन्ते, तद्विवेकेन च वस्तुस्वरूपावधारणं विद्याम् आहुः, तत्रैवं सति यत्र यदध्यासः तत्कृतेन दोषेण गुणेन वा तत्कृतेन दोषेण गुणेन वा अणुमात्रेणापि स अणुमात्रेणापि सह न संबध्यते तम एतम अविद्याख्यम आत्मानात्मनोः इतरेतराध्यासं पुरस्कृत्य सर्वे प्रमाणप्रमेयव्यवहाराः लौकिकाः वैदिकाश्च प्रवृत्ताः सर्वाणि च शास्त्राणि विधिप्रतिषेधमोक्षपराणि कथं पुनः अविद्यावद्विषयिणी प्रत्यक्षादीनि प्रमाणानि शास्त्राणि च इति उच्यते देहेन्द्रियादिषु अहं मम अभिमानरहितस्य प्रमातृत्व अनुपपत्तौ प्रमाणप्रवृत्त्यनुपपत्तेः न हि इन्द्रियाणि अनुपादाय प्रत्यक्षादिव्यवहारः संभवति न च अधिष्ठानमन्तरेण इन्द्रियाणां व्यवहारः संभवति न च अनध्यस्तात्मभावेन देहेन कश्चिद्व्याप्रियते न च एतस्मिन् सर्वस्मिन् असति असङ्गस्य आत्मनः प्रमातृत्वम् उपपद्यते न च प्रमातृत्वम् अन्तरेण प्रमाणप्रवृत्तिः अस्ति तस्माद् अविद्यावद् विषयाणि एव प्रत्यक्षादीनि प्रमाणानि शास्त्राणि च पश्वादिभिश्चाविशेषात् यथा हि पश्वादयः शब्दादिभिः श्रोत्रादीनां सम्बन्धे सति शब्दादिविज्ञाने प्रतिकूले जाते ततो निवर्तन्ते अनुकूले च प्रवर्तन्ते यथा दण्डोद्यतकरं पुरुषं अभिमुखम् उपलभ्य मां हन्तुम् अयमिच्छति इति पलायितुम् आरभन्ते हरिततृणपूर्णपाणिम् उपलभ्य तं प्रति अभिमुखी भवन्ति एवं पुरुषा अपि व्युत्पन्नचित्ताः क्रूरदृष्टीन् आक्रोशतः खड्गोद्यतकरान् बलवतः उपलभ्य ततो निवर्तन्ते तद्विपरीतान् प्रतिप्रवर्तन्ते अतः समानः पश्वादिभिः पुरुषाणां प्रमाणप्रमेयव्यवहारः पश्वादीनां च प्रसिद्धः पश्वादीनां च प्रसिद्धः अविवेकपुरःसरः अविवेकपुरःसरः प्रत्यक्षादिव्यवहारः प्रत्यक्षादिव्यवहारः तत्सामान्यदर्शनाद् तत्सामान्यदर्शनाद् व्युत्पत्तिमतामपि पुरुषाणां व्युत्पत्तिमतामपि पुरुषाणां प्रत्यक्षादिव्यवहारः प्रत्यक्षादिव्यवहारः तत्कालः समान इति निश्चीयते तत्कालः समान इति निश्चीयते शास्त्रीये तु व्यवहारे यद्यपि बुद्धिपूर्वकारी न अविदित्वा आत्मनः परलोकसम्बन्धम् अधिक्रियते तथापि न वेदान्तवेद्यम् अशनायाद्यतीतम् अपेतब्रह्मक्षत्रादिभेदम् असंसारी आत्मतत्त्वम् अधिकारे अपेक्षते अनुपयोगाद् अधिकारविरोधाच्च प्राक्च तथा भूतात्मविज्ञानात् प्रवर्तमानं शास्त्रम् अविद्यावद्विषयत्वं न अतिवर्तते तथा हि ब्राह्मणो यजेत इत्यादीनि शास्त्राणि आत्मनि वर्णाश्रमवयोवस्थादिविशेषाध्यासम् आश्रित्य प्रवर्तन्ते अध्यासो नाम अतस्मिंस्तद्बुद्धि इति अवोचाम तद्यथा पुत्रभार्यादिषु विकलेषु सकलेषु वा अहमेव विकलः सकलो वा इति बाह्यधर्मान् आत्मनि अध्यस्यति तथा देहधर्मान् स्थूलोऽहं कृशोऽहं तिष्ठामि गच्छामि लङ्घयामि च इति तथा इन्द्रियधर्मान् मूकः काणः क्लीबः बधिरः अन्धोऽहम् इति तथा इन्द्रियधर्मान् मूकः काणः क्लीबः बधिरः अन्धोऽहम् इति तथा अन्तःकरणधर्मान् कामसङ्कल्पविचिकित्साध्यवसायादीन् एवम् अहं प्रत्ययिनम् अशेषस्वप्रचारसाक्षिणी प्रत्यगात्मनि अध्यस्य तं च प्रत्यगात्मानं सर्वसाक्षिणं तद्विपर्ययेण अन्तःकरणादिषु अध्यस्यति एवम् अयम् अनादिरनन्तः नैसर्गिकः अध्यासः मिथ्याप्रत्ययरूपः कर्तृत्वभोक्तृत्वप्रवर्तकः सर्वलोकप्रत्यक्षः अस्य अनर्थहेतोः प्रहाणाय आत्मैकत्वविद्याप्रतिपत्तये सर्वे वेदान्ताः आरभ्यन्ते यथा च अयम् अर्थः यथा च अयम् अर्थः सर्वेषां वेदान्तानां तथा वयम् अस्यां शारीरकमीमांसायां प्रदर्शयिष्यामः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। So with Bhagwan's grace and Puja Gurudev's blessing and the blessings of our entire Guru Parampara, we had this online observance celebration of Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya Ji's Jayanti. Reverence for a teacher grows deeper when we learn about their life. That is what we saw today, different facets of his life. And reverence also grows when we look at what they have written, what is their works. So the way we had planned this program was that one part would focus on the life of Bhagwan Shankaracharya Ji. Next Sunday at 10:30 a.m., which is May 3rd, when we meet for Sankat Mochan, we won't have Sankat Mochan this coming Sunday. Instead, I will take 1 hour to just highlight Bhagwan Shankaracharya Ji's work. So we have seen that they fall in 3 main categories: Prakarana Granthas, Stotram, and Bhashyas. So we won't go detail into each of them because they are like a vast ocean. But we will look at how did all those 3 aspects contribute towards understanding Vedanta Siddhanta in a clear way. So that would be our session this coming Sunday. So please do join and revel in the works of Bhagwan Shankaracharya Ji. So with that, we will conclude today's program. Thank you all for joining. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.